Alright, in this section we're going to solve equations. We're going to solve some more equations. In this case, we're just going to solve formulas. We're essentially going to start with a formula that's given and rearrange it algebraically so that it's solved for a different variable in the formula. A couple things we want to be careful about is that if you see two letters that are like the same letter but one is uppercase and one is lowercase, those are actually different variables. And also, if you see variables with different subscripts, those are different variables. So V and V naught are different, and they should not be considered like terms. Let's start off. Here's a familiar formula, E equals mc squared. This formula is set up to solve for E, right, if we know the values of m and c. So if we want to rearrange this to solve for m, well, in this formula, m is being multiplied by c squared, so we want to undo that. I want to divide by c squared, which I can do as long as I divide by c squared on the other side. And now m will be isolated. And I'm going to just flip the order so that I write m on the left side. When we're solving for a variable, it's sort of conventional to put that variable on the left side. So m is e divided by c squared. Next, this is a formula that relates, that gives, set up to give a velocity v if we know the initial velocity v naught and the acceleration a after a certain time t. We want to rearrange this formula to solve it for t. So, you know, t is a factor of this term over here at the end, so I'm going to start by subtracting v naught. And now the only thing that's happening to t is that it's being multiplied by a, so we'll divide. And again, I'm going to flip this around so that t is on the left. And there's our result. Our next example, we've got a fraction here, and we'll just note that little w and big W are different variables here, so we're just going to be careful about that. And we want to rearrange this formula so that it's solved for p. So I think the first thing we're going to do is just write this equation again, just to kind of get it, give myself some space here. So p is trapped inside a set of parentheses. We're going to get it out of the parentheses. Generally we do that by using the distributive property. Before we do that, though, I'm going to just note this is an equation with fractions. I'm going to get rid of the fractions first. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 8. So now those cancel, and I have 8w, 8 big W is equal to L little wl plus 2p. Now I'm going to get the p out of the parentheses, and I'm going to do that by distributing this factor of L. So 8 times big W is little w times L squared plus 2pl. I'm going to isolate the term that has p in it. So I'll subtract little w L squared from both sides. And now we have, let's see, I'm going to bring it up here and give myself some space. 8 big W minus little w L squared equals 2pl. So now on the right side, p is being multiplied by 2 and by L. I'm going to get rid of both of them at the same time. I'm going to divide both sides by 2L. And that will get p by itself. And like I did before, I'm going to just write p on the left side. So p is equal to 8 times big W minus little w L squared all over 2L. All right, one more. We're going to solve this formula for big M. So I will rewrite it. I'll start out by rewriting it to give myself some space. I'm also going to make note that I've got little m and big M here, and those are different variables. Again, I could see big M, which is what I want to solve for, is trapped inside a set of parentheses. Also, we've got a fraction here, so I'm going to get rid of the fraction. I'm going to clear denominators by multiplying both sides by little m. So little m, little v is equal to big V times little m plus big M. And to get the big M out of the parentheses, I'm going to distribute. Now I can isolate that term that has big M in it by subtracting big V little m. And now it's all over but the shouting. We're going to divide both sides by big V. And now we can conclude that big M is equal to little m, little v, minus big V, little m, all divided by V.